Hi everyone, this is Jade from the Psychic Healing Academy, and I am joining you live today to share some tips in this Tarot Reversals Mastercard on how to give tarot reversals. So those of you who know me well or have known me for quite a while know that I have just released a full 9-hour tarot reversals course. I'm very excited. It took me 3 years and I've been having amazing feedback, and so I just want to thank so much for the people who have supported the course and purchased the course. It went bestseller in 11 days on Udemy, so I was very excited about that. And so I just would love to thank people who put some reviews up to say how much they got out of it. So Lynn Random, Luna Rose, Dawn Lundberg, and Barbara O'Sullivan, and everyone else who took the time to review the course, thank you so much. So those of you who are here to learn more about reversals, this is going to give you 3 different things. So by the end of this masterclass, I would love you to have 3 different insights into reversals. And the first one is making that decision whether you want to do them or not yourself personally. The second one is being able to look at how there are certain ways of doing reversals that can actually be easier than the upright. So a few little tips there. And also the third is being able to do reversals for shorter, quicker readings that don't feel so overwhelming. Now, if you are joining me live, if you could just pop your name in the comments and say hi and where you're from so that I know that you are seeing me and watching me. I'm doing this through StreamYard, so that means that I can't actually see your name, so please do mention your name so I can call out. And if you have questions along the way, please don't hesitate to pop them in there. I'll get to them at the end. If you are seeing this on YouTube, please hit subscribe so you always get access to these kind of seminars and masterclasses. So if you are wondering, is this going to be worth my time? I know how busy we all are. This is going to be perfect for you if you are someone who is already a professional tarot reader and you want to integrate reversals more into your practice, or maybe you're curious or you're scared and you're not sure if it's right for you, or you just want to get better at it, basically. So maybe you've tried it before and you're not feeling that confident on doing it. It's also perfect for you if you use tarot in a personal way and you want more insight into the cards and you want to go a little bit deeper with them. And it's great for you if you are one of my Tarot Card Success students and you have either enrolled or you've completed the course. And when I did that foundation level course, as most of you know, it was all upright cards. So, and you're thinking, okay, now I want the other side. I want that balance part of it, and I want to have the complete course when it is in the reversed. So it's perfect for you for that as well. And it's perfect for you if you're just not sure, but you feel like you want to play. And I'm going to give you some extra tips about how to do that without taking the whole thing so seriously. So as I talk about in the course, there is nothing that divides the tarot community more than the subject of reversals. And I'm hoping by the end of this masterclass, you are going to feel more confident about whether or not you want to take the journey to explore them. And if you are already, or you do, that you've got some great little tools in your toolkit to be able to read them more accurately and to do quicker readings with them and more detailed readings for them. So the first thing I want to talk about with tarot reversals is that it's really important to remember that if you are someone up until now who has not used reversals and you make the switch to do them, or again, if you're not sure if they're right or wrong, that I'm not one of these teachers that believes that you are going to go to tarot hell and maybe never return if you don't use reversals. And people can be very kind of adamant about that. And that's, that's their wishes. That's how it works for them. For me, it's always been something that either intuitively works for you or not. And I like to think of it as considering that the tarot is like when we do tarot readings, they pick up the vibrations of us. And they also reveal our master spiritual lessons of what we need in our lives and what the blocks are. And for me, I'm always being very confident when I don't use reversals that there is enough information in the upright cards to reveal to my clients if there's going to be a problem, because most of the reverse cards indicate there's a problem and how to fix the problem. So for me, I always confidently believe there's enough negative cards for me to show my clients that they're going to go off the path and they're not going to get where they need to get if they don't start making changes in their lives. So those kind of blocks and obstacles. Now, having said that, when you do reversals, it does go much deeper into blocks. But I do understand why some people fear them. Like I was reading a comment before where someone said, look, I'd love to do reversals, but every time I pull them out, I just get this dread in my stomach. And I go, oh, look at all those reversals. Because you know you're going to be the bearer of bad news in most of the time. A few occasions, which I will mention briefly soon, about how not all the time, but you know you're going to be letting people know that the road ahead is not easy. And those of you who are here, I assume you're here because you love the tarot, and you're here because you want to make people's lives better with the tarot, or your own life better with the tarot. And obviously, as part of a service provider, you want to give people good news. Like no one wants to sit here and do doom and gloom. However, when you get a whole lot of reversals, it's time to start doing some pretty tough love, doom and gloom stuff for your client. And so that can feel a little bit confronting, especially if you are a nervous beginner. And so for me, it's really important to consider, okay, this is the vibration that's coming through for my client, and I'm going to share that with them. And if it feels right at the beginning of when I'm shuffling, or just in general as a reader, to do reversals, and I will do them if it doesn't. Now, one of my wonderful, fabulous students, Bill, reached out to me just after I released tarot reversals, and he says something he does, which kind of excited me a little. And after 15 years of teaching, it's the first time I'd kind of heard it, and I got really excited. He said he actually makes the decision by putting it in the client's bowl, in their court. So he actually will say to them, so I'm going to give you the option, would you like me to do this with reversals? And I quite like that, because again, that gives the client the power to say yes or no to reversals. Now, obviously, if they don't know anything about reversals or not, then it might be a bit more complicated, but I kind of like the idea of giving them the free will to choose that or not. So that is just one little tip for those of you who are not sure. Compliments of Bill. Thank you, Bill. So let's start by looking at one of the benefits of doing reversals is that you will, as I said, see a lot more flaws in your client's character. And I don't mean that in a mean way. I just mean that you will see, like if your client comes to you love readings, so 60% of clients come to you about love readings. If they're coming to you because their love life is a shambles, then having the reverse in there, you'll be able to see a lot more of their character flaws, because they tend to reveal the character flaws. So in the beginning of tarot card reversals, at this course that I have just released, I talk about how reversals are quite easy to look at in a quick glimpse, because you just have to consider the four main elements, which are the wands and the four suits, the wands, the cups, the swords, and the pentacles, and how they represent those four elements of earth, air, fire, and water. And you just have to consider that when they are reversed, that they are just meaning that that energy is going in the wrong way. So wands, for example, is about a fire energy, and it's our action, and it's our career, and it's our moving home and relocating and traveling. And so when it's reversed, it simply means that it is going in the wrong direction. And so you can straight away say to your client, so basically your fire energy is going in the wrong direction. Like you're wasting your action right now. You're probably putting a whole lot of, so say for example, the Ace of Wands, which is traditionally about new momentum and new feeling and new energy. Now it's going in the reverse. It basically means you're wasting your time. It's futile energy, futile action. You're probably just burning yourself out. So you need to return to the upright card and take on board the lessons of feeling that physical energy and then taking action from a very focused, narrow point of view. So rather than being all upside down and flittering that energy away. So it's really important to be able to look at reversals as the big number one tip for doing these shorter readings, especially. Like this is where reversals can be quite easy for me. And that is to think straight away, okay, it's upside down, so that means they haven't mastered the lesson of the upright card. So we just need to turn them back up the right way and get them back on track. And so it's not such a thing where you're dooming and glooming, because it's not prophecy, the world's going to end, your life's going to fall apart, you're never going to get married, you're always going to have a crap job. It's not that. It's saying this is all you need to do. Like you just need to turn this upside down. And so let's start by looking at something like the Six of Pentacles. So the Six of Pentacles, the sixes are always about stability in the tarot. And when a six is upside down, it means that you have lost stability on some level. And if you look across those 4 suits, so in the Pentacles, it means you've lost stability in your finances. In the Cups, you've lost stability in your heart and in your emotions. In the Wands, you've lost stability in your thoughts and in your ego. And in the last one, Wands, but the 6 is about stability. So it means that you have lost that. So you've kind of fallen backwards into the chaos of the 5, and you need to master the lesson of the 6. And the way you do that is by remembering the 6 of Pentacles is about give and take and balance. And so it often will represent a time in your life that maybe you're working in a job that doesn't give you a lot of emotional growth, or maybe even necessarily career growth, but it gives you financial stability. And so it's actually serving a purpose. And it's what most people who are employed kind of tend to find. They put this amount of effort in and they get this amount back as a wage or a salary. And when the card is reversed, it can indicate that you are not getting this. So maybe you're working too hard and not getting compensated the right amount of money for how hard you're working. So, or it could be meaning that you are not putting enough energy into what needs to be balanced in your career and in your finances. And this is basically causing and the leading block and cause or character flaw that you're experiencing. So money's going in the wrong direction. And the quick way to answer this for your client is to turn them back upside down and say, so embrace the balance and know you need to rethink about how you're going to get as much back as what you are putting into this situation. So say if it's like your finances are all draining away and you don't have enough money, then you need to go back and look at how and why, and being able to come up with new solutions to put that balance back. And if you want to go more detailed, and this is what I do more in my course as well, you can go into returning to the 5, the upright lesson of the 5. So in the upright lesson of the 5, you are in the winter of your discontent in your finances, and you may feel like the world's fallen apart, but you need to look to spirit. So in the Rider-Waite deck, you're looking at the church, but if you are of a different denomination or even no denomination, you're looking to spirit or your inner wisdom to find the answers to your spiritual solution problems, but also accepting that maybe this is just a temporary winter and it's not going to have to, there are solutions and it will get better. So that's just one example of how this is not a doom and gloom prophecy. You're never going to get what you want. It just means you need to tweak a few things. And that's how I consider reversals. You're just tweaking a few things. Let's look at a card like Judgment, for example, reversed. Now, most people I know overwhelmingly, like when I do the Advanced Tarot and Psychic Business program, and this is my more one-on-one coaching that I do, I talk to my students about what the most challenging card is for them. And overwhelmingly, it is Judgment. People struggle with Judgment. And it is, for me, actually one of the most powerful cards in the deck, because it signals that you're nearly at the end of the major arcana, that you have gone through a huge spiritual journey and you're about to end the cycle. You're nearly at the world, but you've got one last moment of truth to go in and take responsibility for your journey and heed the calling of where you're meant to be in your life purpose, whether that be in your love life or in your career or in your relationships or in your health, like whatever area it is you're asking about. Now, when Judgment is reversed, it means that you are having no judgment. So it's a softer version upright, because it means like you need to do this, and there's highly likely, unless you get a whole lot of negative cards around you, you're going to do it because you'll feel compelled to do it. And you've already learned enough lessons to push you that you've got the tools to do it. However, when it's reversed, it means you just don't have any clarity on your judgment. So you're probably making really bad decisions around your career or your love life. You're not actually applying the judgment and discernment that you need, that you have learned from your past mistakes. So that's a good way of saying it. You haven't learned from your past mistakes. And you're also maybe living a bit instant gratification, not like considering what you need to be a responsible adult. Not insulting anyone who's in a reverse judgment. We've all done it and been there, but you're sort of chasing short-term wins rather than heeding the call of spirit and going into your spiritual growth journey and doing a bit of that tough work to work through your stuff and why you haven't got what you want in your life. And so that is a good example of why, again, Judgment reversed isn't doom and gloom. It just means this is what you're not doing. You're not actually going in and being responsible and honest about how you have contributed to your own journey, and you haven't gone in and reflected about what you can do to maybe improve, rather than blaming the world or escaping with short-term voidism, like filling up your cup with other stuff that's maybe not going to give you long-term rewards. So it's that concept of spirit is your long-term reward. It's a bit of a similar one to the last one, isn't it? But yeah, it is that thing of going in and knowing that heeding your life purpose and where you're meant to be will only come. You'll only get the wisdom you need to take the next steps once you take responsibility and once you stop acting irrationally and without judgment. So that is the reverse judgment. So again, tipping it upside down just fixes and heals that. So it's a good way to identify blocks. It's a great way to see what's going on there. So I hope that's helped, as my first big tips is going in and saying to yourself, okay, I'm just going to turn this upside down, but it doesn't have to be doom and gloom. It's just a few little tweaks to help your client. Now, the second thing I want to talk about is the fact that even though we can be afraid of reversals and we can think they're all negative doom and gloom, and you know, they all, when they show up, when there's like lots of them in your deck and you freak out and you don't want to tell your client this, there are positive reversals, and that is the 5. So the 4 5s in the minor arcana are all overwhelmingly positive. They are a softer version of the upright, and it means that that change and chaos and challenge that you've been experiencing is now going to recede. It's not going to be as intense, and you're going to have learnt the lessons, and you're going to feel a bit more empowered. And so it's like the dark days are over, to quote the brilliant Florence. So it's no longer as intense, and so that's a really good thing. Other cards that are not as intense include the Devil. So the Devil means that when it's reversed, it means you're not actually as bound as you were. So you're aware of the bindings, but they don't have as much power in you. And I kind of like that part of being in any kind of journey, whether it be a relationship or it be a job that you want to leave or an unsatisfying career. I like that feeling that the reversed Devil gives you, where you're kind of like, oh my goodness, I've been so trapped by this and so bound, and it's just, you know, I've lost my marbles over it, but I'm now feeling like I can break this. I'm feeling that power. And that to me is a beautiful transition. So for me, the Devil, when it's reversed, is much more positive. And the Hierophant is more positive when it is reversed. So that is another one where if it shows up, you don't have to feel like it's doom and gloom. It's actually meaning that the wisdom is working in the right direction and you're not being as bound to certain things of giving your power away to gurus. And it's actually a much more powerful card on a spiritual level when it is reversed. Now, the other card that is, for me, much more positive when it is, the other 3 cards, I should say, that are more positive or at least less intense when they are upright, when they are reversed, is the 8 and the 9 and the 10 of Swords. Now, I don't know about you, but out of all the cards in the deck, those 3 little creatures, when they show up, I get oh no, whether it's for myself or my clients, because I know that my beautiful clients are going to be in for a bit of a rough ride, because that means that your head has truly gone to hell and you've got to claw to get it back, really, when it comes to those 3 cards. But when they are reversed, it means it's not as intense. So it's not as bad. There's still a lingering bits of entrapment, but it's nowhere near as intense on that level. So they are a little bit more positive on that level. Now, another tip, so I hope that's helped if you're thinking that's all bad. There are a few that show up, those ones that are actually less intense. Now, something else that's quite surprising that most people don't realize about reversals, and this is going to hopefully make some of you happy, is for me, it's actually easier to read the court cards when they are reversed. Now, overwhelmingly, most people I know in, the 80,000 SOAR students that I have taught over the last 15 years have shared with me that because making the decision if a card is a person or something you need to be more like or a situation can be very challenging and scary, especially if you're a beginner and your intuition hasn't quite kicked in. Those of you who have done my Tarot Card Success course know that I ask you to verify this if you're not sure, or if the question doesn't answer it or the context isn't correct and you're not feeling it and you still don't know, to pull an additional card to see. And if it's an extra court card, then yes, that means it's a person. If it's not, then it means that it is actually a situation or a personality trait you need to be more like. Now, the good news and then what I often get my students to do is to decide if that's positive or negative, pulling an additional card. So is it a good or a bad thing that this person's in your life? So say it's a love question and you get a King of Wands and it's like, well, okay, great, thank you. A King of Wands is coming in, but is that going to be a good thing or is it going to be a bad thing? Am I going to have a good experience or a bad experience? And so I get my students to pull that additional card to see if it's positive or negative. Now, this for me has always been a great system for figuring this out, like the impact this court person will have on your life. However, in the reverse, it's so much easier because when the card is reversed, it's always negative. It's always, you don't have to play guessing games. When a court shows up in your life, whether it's a person or a personality trait you need to be more like, it means you are being to the negative of this. So again, say it's the King of Wands, who is often an ambitious person. They can be impulsive, but they're actually a great leader. And when the fire's going in the right direction, they can accomplish and move mountains. However, when they are reversed, it can signal that they are either burnt out or more likely they are just not in their fire energy enough. So they probably think they should be a king, but they're not doing the adult thing and being responsible enough. And they're probably burning their energy out on useless tasks because they're not actually committing and focusing and being disciplined enough. And so when you get the card reversed, it can feel like, okay, straight away I know with my client that this is what's going on. That I don't have to guess if this is a good or a bad thing. I already know that this is a block. And that's why I love it. It's a block. And even if it's a person, you're blocked because this person's in your life and you maybe need to work on having less of these reversed court card people in your life. So, and especially like with the Knights, like the Knights, that immature teenage behavior is exemplified and even worse when they are reversed. So if you're asking about a love interest and you get a Knight of Cups, it's like, this dream is probably not sticking around for very long. Like they might promise you poetry and words and romance and say you're beautiful, but they're probably not going to be around very long. They're probably promising either other people or they have a short attention span. So looking at that reversed and not freaking out as much when they are court cards is one of the benefits of doing reversed. I find them easier to read and interpret when they are in the reverse position, because they always represent the dark side. Now, those of you who are in my Tarot Card Success course and you're still not thinking, I don't know if I want to do reverse, I'm not sure yet. Just keep in mind all that information is in Tarot Card Success, because I do talk about in that course the light side of a court and the dark side. So it's simply the dark side. So you already know that. If it shows up accidentally for you, you actually already know that. You've learnt that in that course. So I'm going to answer a few questions in a minute. There's some lovely questions here. Thank you so much, everyone. Please remember, if you are asking a question or saying hello, to pop your name, because this platform I'm working on doesn't share with me your name. And oh, yes, and as always, I love your questions. And if you are watching this on YouTube, you can pop your questions here and I will also answer them. Or you can also pop me a quick email on team@saljade.com. That's it. Obviously, if you're one of my Udemy students, you can pop it on your Q&A board. So something else I would like to talk about with reversal is looking at reversals as not something you have to commit to doing all the time. And that's what I mean by that intuitive choice. So those of you who know me know that I talk about in Tarot Card Success how when I first learnt tarot and tarot reversals, I just got overwhelmed because I was learning all these different interpretations for the upright cards, like the 78 cards, and I was doing it for love and general and for business and career. And I was also trying to open up my intuition and deal with my clients' expectations and, the nervousness that I naturally felt. And I was also having to take on board that a lot of tarot cards, even when they're upright, have multiple interpretations. When they're reversed, they can kind of have up to 4 or 5 interpretations. And so for me, it felt too overwhelming for beginners. And that was part of the reason I didn't include it in my Tarot Card Success course. And intuitively, it just didn't feel right. Now, someone asked me recently after releasing this course, okay, so what's happened? Why have you changed your mind about reversals? And no, look, so those of you who know, I am not reading professionally right now because I have so many beautiful, wonderful Udemy students that I'm working with. And I have my advanced tarot and psychic business program. So my coaching program for people who want to run an online tarot business. So I don't actually have space for readings at the moment, and I usually just recommend people from my advanced tarot program if they're looking for readers. And so they're like, so now that you've taken 3 years to do this course, are you using reversals in your professional readings? And the answer is, well, I haven't done a professional reading for at least a year now, so I haven't been, but I do use them in my personal readings. I do, when I'm doing my own personal readings, use them. And now that I have gone into a much deeper in-depth study in the past 3 years of adding it to the knowledge that I already knew when I started studying tarot, whatever it was, 17 years ago, I have blended that, and I feel like if I was, when and if I return to the professional, then I will definitely include them. Like, if, again, it feels right. I am always someone, and people go, that's so flaky, Sal, but that's honestly how I roll with my readings. And just to give you an example, those of you who have done my How to Be Psychic course or my Psychic Readings Intermediate level course, where I look at oracle cards and channeling and connecting with your spiritual guides, I sometimes, like, a client will come and I will just get this overwhelming feeling that I have to use this one particular deck with them, that like one particular angel deck or one particular ascended master deck or gods and goddesses deck. And it will just be that strong in me that I will go and hunt for it and bring it back out. And sometimes I might not have used that deck for 3 or months. And so it can be like that for me with tarot reversals. I feel like I would just intuitively with each client go case by case. Now, those of you who are very formula driven, my beautiful swords, people who want a practical answer to that, I am sorry. That is kind of how I roll. I would hope that by the end of this, if you go away and do some beautiful practicing, and or if you're enrolled in the tarot reversals course, that you actually just have a solid feeling, yes or no, if you want to use them. Like, it's completely up to you if you want to use them. And as I always say, don't feel shamed into using them, whatever feels right. Now, in the tarot reversals course, I'm just going to give you one last little tip before I start answering these questions. If you have longer readings, so sometimes you might be a reading that might go for an hour, then tarot reversals can be quite good, because you have the opportunity to introduce to your client the return to the upright card, that quick, short little hack I spoke about earlier, but also to return to the previous card to get more of the background. So what do I mean by that? So maybe your client is having a problem in their love life because they haven't mastered that previous card. So that's how reversals also work when you go into more detailed readings and interpretations. And this gives you more insight into your client. Like, it's quite exciting. So you can actually see, okay, it seems to me you haven't mastered this in the past. And now, so not only have you not mastered the upright, you haven't mastered the lesson that came before the card. Now, those of you who are a bit confused or new to reversals, when I talk about before the card, I'm not talking about as it appears in the spread. I'm talking about the hierarchy of the card, like ace to 10, that kind of thing. So the 4 and the 5, you haven't mastered the 4. So looking at it as having returned to the previous ones. So do that when you want more detailed readings, when you go into more insightful background and even, as I said, more of that spiritual lessons that come through, especially in that major arcana cards. So I hope that has helped everyone. So looking at different ways, considering that the tarot is a combination of your vibrational energy that comes through, or your client's vibrational energy, and it will always give you what you need, whether they are upright or reversed. So to trust in that if you're not sure. But if you do want to do reversed and you're a bit nervous, then start with that little quick hack where you just go to saying, okay, you need to harness the energy of the upright card. So once you know the upright card, then it's not going to be a stress because you already know this. Remembering that you're just getting more information about their character flaws and their blocks. It's not always doom and gloom. Even if you're getting quite significant amounts, maybe they've got significant blocks, but that's what you're there to do. Like, that's that spiritual counseling part of tarot that I love, that is not that fortune telling thing. It's the going into your heart and making people's lives better with this spiritual information and helping them identify their blind spots and their roadblocks. And also looking at, okay, if I want to go into a more detailed reading, I can revert to the previous card and the lessons of that. And also, as I said, that beautiful tip that Bill said about how you maybe just leave it up to the client if you're not sure. Like, trust your intuition and leave it up to the client if you are not sure. So I hope that has helped everybody. And if you are interested in doing the Tarot Reversals course, there is over 9 hours of content in there. There is also a study booklet that I have specially created that will give you a navigation through all 78 cards, that will give you quick little hacks like some of the ones I've talked about there, but I expand upon them. So there's 3 or 4 extra hacks, but also some journaling practices and ways for you to connect deeper and get more accuracy with your readings. And you get detailed interpretations and quick hack interpretations for all 78 cards, for love, for general, and for business and money. And as always, you get a 30-day money back guarantee. If you enroll in it and you get a bit overwhelmed and think, I don't want to do this, or it's not for me, then there's a no questions asked return policy as well. So I'm going to pop the link to there, or you can just find it at saljade.com/reversals. It's very easy, saljade.com reversals, or you can find it in the link and you can go in and have a look at that if you are interested in doing that. And those of you who know me well know I love to answer your questions, so please do. If you need help along the way, I'm going to be there for you. So I'm going to answer some questions now. And again, if you're on YouTube, you can pop them there and I will get back to you. If you are joining me live, let's have a look. Sorry, I haven't got your name here, but I like the question. I think I've been nervous about reversals as it feels like I'm doubling the number of cards to learn, but thinking of them as opposite helps. Oh, awesome. Yeah, it's exactly like that's my little quick hack. If you already think, well, I already know them, then my quick hack is you're fine because you already know them. You just have to return it to the upright. And the only thing to remember with that's my other little quick hack, is that the 5s are always better, and that the 8, 9, and 10 are always better, and that the devil is always better, and that the Hierophant can also have a level of better as well. So to just remember that in that. Hello, who's just yelled out hello? Sorry, I can't see your name there, but I'm yelling out a big hello back. So that's all that you need to remember, is that overwhelmingly they will give you that the information that your client needs to do this. And I love being able to do that in the tarot. I'm such a fan of saying, it's okay, this is going to be rocky. This isn't going to go as smoothly as you'd like. This is what you need to improve it. Like, that's what we're there for. There's nothing more rewarding than helping people with information that they can go away and take powerful steps to do. This for me is the whole point of tarot, rather than when will I get married, because that doesn't give anyone anything to work with. I want to help people, empower them. Hey, what do I need to do to get married? Or how will the path unfold if I date this person? Will it lead towards marriage? Those are my much better questions that I love to answer. Someone else has just jumped on and said Facebook. Okay, sorry, whoever's just said about the 7 of something reverse. Reversals are challenging. 7 of series reverse, did you say? Sorry, if you could just pop that in. It's coming through as 7 of series reverse. I'm not sure if that's a suit or if that's something else. If you could pop that in, I can help answer that question. So yes, if you do have any one particular cards that are making you a bit crazy. I always think, how do you reverse sneaky deception? Is it moving more honest? Oh, that's a great one. Sorry, let me say that. I always think, how do you reverse sneaky deceptive? Is it just moving towards more honest? Oh, the 7 of Swords. Is that what you mean? Can you just put 7 of Swords so I know that's what you mean? So the 7 of Sword reverse is actually, it's an interesting one. It actually is, the 7 of Sword reverse is one of those rare ones where it actually falls back on you. So where you're the one not being honest. So it's actually easy to remember that one, because you actually look at it and so say you're saying, should I date this person? Or, why hasn't he called me? Or what's going on there? The 7 of Sword reverse indicates that maybe you're not being honest about this situation. Like, maybe you're not really that into him, but you're just, sitting there waiting because you're desperate for someone to come in your life because you're feeling a bit lonely. Or, what do I need to know about my job? And, what's going on and how my boss is treating me at my job. When the 7 of Swords comes up, it means maybe you're not being completely honest. Maybe you're taking a few too many sick days, or maybe you're hating your job and not putting 100% in, and maybe that's why things are challenging at your job. So it's a self-reflection, a bit of a judgment card, actually, where you have to look back on yourself when it's reversed. That's one of the rare ones that does that, though. I hope that has helped. Yes, awesome. Oh, hi, thank you. Someone laughing at me. So, thank you so much for everyone that has joined me today. I really hope this has helped you. I wanted to keep this as brief as possible. And as I said, I will pop that link here into the description if you are interested in finding out more. There is a no risk 30-day policy if you're just curious and you want to go jump in and see if it's right for you. The Tarot Reversals course, it's called How to Give, or it's actually called Tarot Reversals, How to Give Tarot Reversals. And if you've got any more questions about reversals or there's sneaky cards that you're not sure of, then do pop them here and I will answer them for you. Thank you so much for joining me.